Hi, today we're going to talk about worktops. It's probably one of the most important decisions you're going to make in your kitchen when you're designing it. If you like our videos, don't forget to hit the subscribe button. So when you're picking your worktops, there's lots of things to think about. Obviously there's the obvious thing, how it actually looks, if you've got style in mind, you've got a certain colour palette, but you have got to take into account your budget, what you want to spend on your worktops, the practicalities. Some worktops, they look stunning, maybe not so practical, so think about, is this going into a kitchen, it's getting used all the time and it's got to be functional, or is it purely just for show and it's never going to get used, so it doesn't really matter how practical it is to use. So granite and marbles are rocks that have been cut from the ground. Granite is the more durable because it's a volcanic rock. So both natural products. Granite you use typically more so in your kitchen. Marble we do use sometimes in your kitchen, and the look of a marble is very popular at the moment. But of the two, it's the least practical, is more likely to chip, and it's going to stain. So things in the kitchen, so typically like lemon juice, like that is really going to easily mark it. Granite's the one we're more likely to use in a kitchen. Not as popular as they used to be. I think just because the fashions, the look is something maybe more simple and uniformed, and some of the colours that the granite's coming are just not as popular on trend at the moment. Obviously the advantage whether you go for granite or a marble is because it's a solid stone, you can have an undermount sink or a Belfast sink because it can be cut and it can be polished. You can also have an island and a curve or an interesting shape, and again that's easily achieved with a stone that can be polished on the edge. So one of the disadvantages of the natural stones is because obviously it's been dug out of the ground, you are reliant on what is available there, and it's obviously natural formation, and that comes in slabs. So you are going to get a variation between one slab to another. So it's not as easy to maybe match up two pieces of stone. And if only the size that's come out of the ground in a certain size and you need an island slab size slightly larger, that's unfortunately, that can't be done. Quartz would be maybe a more suitable material. And also with a granite, you're reliant on what's available. So if they can no longer dig that or find that, that's it, that's the end of that line of material. The advantages of granites is because they are, or marbles as well, because they are a natural product, they are going to be completely unique. You can go along to a granite yard and you can pick out your slabs. If you're going for a big island, you can pick out a lovely slab, and you can obviously pick something that's got a really lovely interesting pattern or swirl going through that, and you're not going to walk into your neighbour's kitchen and find they've got the exact same thing, because each and every one is going to be different. And you can go along to the granite yard and you can pick something out that you see that you hadn't even thought about, but just suddenly seeing it there in the yard appeals to you. So there are lots of advantages to it. It is a unique product and you can get some absolutely lovely colours and designs from it. So laminate worktops, out of all of them, they're probably the cheapest option you can go for. They're brilliant if you want to fit your kitchen and get your worktops on and all installed within a week. They come in slabs, so generally like 3 or 4 metres in length. They will about 38 or 40 mm thickness. They'll come edged on the front with raw edges typically on the sides and the back, and they need to be scribed on site. The disadvantages, I would say, of a laminate worktop is if you wanted an undermount sink or Belfast sink, you obviously have to make a cutout, and that's going to give you a raw edge. So not ideal for that. And also if you've got an interesting shape, say island with a curve on it, that's not going to work as well, because you'd need to cut and edge that, which can be done, but you're maybe not going to get such a good finish. Some of our German manufacturers also supply laminate worktops. Typically they're more expensive than the worktops we supply in the UK, but the advantage of those is we can order them in sizes. So if you've got an island, we can give that exact size and that will be edged all the way around. So an installation with a worktop that's obviously all cut to size is going to go really quickly. The trends are going towards worktops matching with the furniture, which can be achieved really well with the German furniture, because you're going to get a door that's going to match your worktop. So for the trends and the look that a lot of people are trying to achieve at the moment, those worktops can work really well. Because laminate worktops are made up of a compressed chipboard, it's going to make them incredibly cheap to produce. So on average, you're looking to spend say £200 to £400 on a kitchen. So quartz is probably the most popular worktops we do. Typically it comes in 20 and 30 mil slabs. Quite often we'd use a 20mm if we want to keep the price down, and more in the more modern kitchen, so German, handless. 30mm generally would use more typically on a traditional kitchen. When we're having upstands, they would be in 20mm because it doesn't need to be 30mm of thickness. So quartz I find the most popular worktop we are doing at the moment. They come in lots of different colours, but the beauty of a quartz is because it's a man-made product, even though it's got quartz content within it, you know you're going to get that uniformity of colour, you're going to get the slab size you want, and it's slightly more consistent than a granite, more compacted. So our practical purposes to going for a quartz. Still, like a granite, you do have to be careful with them, so I won't take anything out of the oven and put it directly onto it, nor would I chop on it. So I'd look after it, use a trivet or a chopping board. You do obviously have to be careful and obviously look after your worktop. With the quartzes, they come in lots of colours. The marble effect is really popular, so it has all the appearance of a marble worktop, but obviously has has the practicalities as well. So it's not going to chip as easily and stain as quickly as a marble would. What I find with the quartz worktops in the marble finish, they are stunning, and the price is generally stunning to go with them. Another popular trend with the quartz is ones that have more of a fleck to them, so rather than a vein or a fussy pattern, it's a fleck, so quite a simple uniform colour. You can get some which have got a nice delicate little spark on those, and those can be quite popular. With the worktops, we're quite often using it on an island to wrap it round so it's either side. That works really well if you've got a lovely veined marbled quartz that can come along the top and wrap around the side. And also when you've got it on your worktop, to rather than have tiles or glass splashbacks, you can have the worktop so it returns up. Typically you do the 20mm on the back panels, and you'd have the sockets all cut out for it. Price-wise, it can end up probably costing similar to what a glass would be, a glass splashback, and the advantage is you're getting one company that can come in and they can template and usually fit all in one go. So it actually can work even a bit cheaper than glass because you're not paying for two separate companies to template and fit. So timber worktops, price-wise, not really expensive as your quartz or granites. Like a laminate, you can buy it in lengths that you'd obviously fit on site, or you can obviously all get someone in to template and fit your worktops for you. I really like timber, but you do have to be aware that it does need maintenance. So you will have to oil it regularly, so it can dry out, and also it can scratch. So you have to be realistic about it. If you're going to put timber worktops in your kitchen, they're going to need looking after, and that's not for everyone. I certainly get lots of clients coming in saying they've had a timber worktop and they'd never do it again. So you have to be realistic. It is going to need looking after, oiling. You can tell if it's dried out. You can drop some water onto it, and if it soaks into it, that means it needs oiling. And depending on how dry it is, and it can be different in different areas of the kitchen. If there's natural sunlight coming through, or it's next to an Arga, it's more likely to dry out quicker. But yeah, test to see if it needs oiling. It's easily applied. You may need to sand it down slightly beforehand if you've got any scratches in your worktop. So if you do manage to scratch your timber worktop, at least you can repair that yourself. But yeah, be realistic about, do you actually want to look after it? And certain areas around the sink or the hob, it's going to probably more like to mark, certainly around your sink where there's more water. I'll often suggest to clients if they want timber, but they are concerned about it really showing wear and tear too quickly, I would suggest maybe we put it just on your island, or just in a seated section, so on an island where there's a breakfast bar, so it's not everywhere, and it's not going to be in the places that are going to get the most use. So ultra compact work surfaces are becoming increasingly more popular, and they have last few years they're really starting to take off. The advantage of the sinter stones is that they are ceramic based, and they are heat resistant, fire resistant, scratch proof, so virtually indestructible. So if you're living in a household where you know that no one really takes the care of their worktops like they should do, they're going to take something straight out of the oven and put it directly onto the worktop, at least you know with this worktop it's going to be very hard to damage it. The other advantage of these worktops is the thickness they come in, so they can go down to from 4mm, 20mm is about the typical thickness we'll use. Some will go up to 30mm, but they really will go down very sleek, and you can use them obviously as well as a worktop to clad things, so all around your island or the back panelling. So they are becoming increasingly more popular because of the technology involved and not everyone is able to produce them. You use special parts to actually manufacture the worktops. It does consequently mean the price of it is going to be more expensive. As it's becoming a more popular product, that price is coming down, but typically you are going to spend £5,000 and upwards for a sintered worktop. So something like, there's a few brands out there like Neolith and Dexon, they're very popular. But yeah, expect that if you're going for the actual worktop, it's going to take up a big bulk of your budget. So Corian, I find this is a real marmite with clients. They either really like it or really hate it. It's a man-made product. It's got resin content with it, and it's formed by heat. So there's lots of advantages. One, obviously, you can see it's a man-made product, so lots you can do with it. You have these virtually invisible joins because of how they bond it together. So if you've got a big, long run, rather than having a joint, obviously there is going to be a joint. If you get close enough, you can potentially see it. They're less obvious in the flat colours. The busier ones with flex, you're going to obviously more like to see that. But yeah, so lots of advantages. Virtually invisible joints. The sink you can have as one, so you can have a Corian sink with worktop, so it all bonds together. So there's nowhere really, to get the dirt traps. Another advantage is the upstands. Rather than having your worktop with a piece that sits on top, creating that 90-degree angle, they make it in 3 pieces. So you've got one piece here, you've got another piece there, and the third piece that runs along there, which are then shaped. So then you don't have, again, anywhere to get the dirt trapped in. So this is something that you couldn't really do with a granite. They have, obviously, like a stone, which has a cold feel to it, that's not going to have quite the same feel. I've also been told that a good thing with Corian is it's really good in prisons. It's very hard to make a weapon with it if you broke it up. Perhaps maybe why people aren't so keen is the feel of it, which you get from a stone. You do have to be careful with the Corian worktops. So where you've got heat, if you put, say, a saucepan onto it, you are going to more like to damage it quicker than a quartz. And I've certainly seen where someone's obviously put a saucepan straight onto it and left a round patch on it. So, but there are lots you can do with a Corian worktop. So when choosing your worktops, ultimately it is going to come down to personal preference of what you actually like. But also, like I said, it has to work with your lifestyle and your budget. Quartz, I generally find, generally ticks most of those boxes for budget and for also practicalities.